Let's start with d4. Vladimir Turkolev. Kuklev. Vladimir Kuklev plays the Queen's Gambit accepted. Yeah, the knight move first before the pawn move is more accurate because it stops some counterplay with this. I've seen this line before. This is a weird line. Unusual for black to give up the bishop pair for no reason. So I don't know if there's some tricks here. Oh yeah, he's winning a pawn. There is a trick here. No, he's not winning a pawn. He's not winning a pawn. The pawn is protected. I don't know what the trick was. I'm just going to develop. Yeah, playing it like a Slav. It'd be nice to keep this bishop here because he hasn't castled and he hasn't developed his king side. So I could drop back here, keep it pointed on the king side. He can play okay, he plays that move to blunt my bishop. What do I want to do here? I could develop the knight, move the knight forward. And that's kind of offering a queen trade. It also hits this pawn. The pawn is not under attack yet. Let's put the rook there first. Then play the knight here. So the knight here will come as kind of a double threat, although trading queens will allow him time to find another defender for this guy. I don't know if he can, though. But he stops that idea. Okay. Let's just stop the check here, or the taking of the pawn anyway. Got to respect your opponent's threats, no matter how badly they play. So he's going to put the knight here, and if I take it, then the queen comes here with mate. But if I put my knight here, anyway, at the moment, this knight defends here, so it's only a threat if this knight moves. Here, let's get the rook to the center. I want to push this pawn forward. He got his king side developed very quickly. Maybe I didn't have to play this this move. So he wants to trade knights. Is that what this is? Or trade knight for bishop. It's not the best bishop in the world. Let's see, if I go here with the knight and he takes it with the bishop, I can take his queen. So when I go here with the knight, he will trade queens first and then take it, and I'll have this doubled pawn here. Let's do it. It's interesting. If he doesn't do anything, I can take here. And sometimes these crazy attacking players, once you trade queens, they get discouraged and lose. Sometimes that happens. Yeah, see, he kept the queen on. So I can take here. He can take here. So if I lift this pawn up, his knight can go here. If I put this pawn all the way here, though, I mean, his knight can still come here, but it solidly protects my knight. And there's still this threat to take here. I just couldn't allow the queen to take here. That would have been too much. And notice, yeah, this is a attacking player. Notice he's not interested in just trading knight for bishop. He wants to mate me. It's not a bad way to play sometimes. Quite effective at times. Yeah, if he could put a rook here, it would be very awkward. He can't, but if he could put a rook there, it would be very awkward for me because this piece is pinned and already under attack. So he'd be threatening to take it, and I would have to defend. I don't have time to unpin. But I can unpin right now by either moving the bishop or the queen, as long as there's no rook here. Of course, if I move the queen, I have to move it somewhere that defends the bishop. So I think maybe I'll move the bishop because I really want to put my queen on this square. I would defend a lot of the holes in my position. But I can't do it because it would hang the bishop. So I can defend the bishop like this, then move my queen here. Moving the bishop didn't seem like a good idea because it's actually defending the f4 square through this pawn, so it seemed like I needed it. Yeah, I can go here. He can put his rook there. I can drop my queen down to here. Oh, no, I can take his knight. That's what I can do if he puts his rook there. Yeah, queen there threatens to take the knight. And, of course, he can lose the knight by trading it for the bishop, but then he doesn't have the rook lift. See, he's trying to exploit the open files. Good attacking play. At least, so it looks to me. It's not entirely sound a lot of times, attacking play, but it can be very dangerous. You have to be wary of all the threats and alert enough to do something about them. So now I finally have released the pressure on this pawn so he can develop the knight if he wants to without losing a pawn. He never did develop the queen side after all that. Kind of interesting. G4, because of the pin, does not really chase the queen. It'll be pinned against my king, so G4 is not really doing much. He prevents it anyway. Oh, he's going to go all the way to H4 and try and get a rook here anyway. So let's see if we can chase his queen away from that good square. In fact, where does it go? I think he can't avoid an exchange here. It's diagonal, that diagonal, up and down, right and left. think wherever he goes, I can take his queen. Oh, I didn't think about that. Let's see, can I do this? Rook defends here. The queen also defends there. Yep, very annoying. Okay, let's bring the bishop here. The queen can't go anywhere that defends this pawn, so I think I can take it. Or trade queens. Let's do it. Now, let's go after this pawn. That old weakness coming back to bite him. Yeah, I can defend there, but can't defend that pawn. There's always something. There's always a weakness you can exploit when they have played like that. So we can start pushing pawns. Pawn here. Knight moves here or here, hitting the rook. Gotta move quicker, huh? Very tense. Yeah, put this put this rook where his knight couldn't easily attack it, just for convenience sake. Okay, let's see. Put this rook here. I guess I'll go this way. I don't mind. If he can check me like that. I was going to say he can't check me, but there was a check there. I should be able to win with those passed pawns. Can always take there too. And he ran out of time, but I think I'm pretty sure. Just put it on the analysis board and turn this on to get an evaluation. Yeah, I'm up by 10 points. He can't stop these from queening. So that was a win for me. Pretty interesting game. Let's go back and play. Maybe I'll play a rapid game this time. That was a long Blitz game, but we'll play a rapid game anyway. Mux 21. No, 2057. Good player. Dare I try the two knights defense against him? Well, we'll see if he plays the Italian game. He does. Okay. So this is opening book so far. So I'm just doing this. Now, I've been wanting to play the Traxler, and this is my chance. And it's against a strong player. So the Traxler is also known as the Wilkes-Barre. So the main line here is pushing the pawn. The threat here, of course, is just taking here. And the Wilkes-Barre or Traxler variation is this move. It's a counter-attacking move. So you go ahead and take that pawn. Now, I don't know much about it at this point. You have to move the queen because it's under attack, and he can pick up. he can pick up a whole rook here. I think you take here first, because it's with check. You can do it. I don't know, maybe you move the queen first. There's some move order wrinkles here I don't know about. Now you've got to move the queen, right? There's no further check. If the king takes, then you've got knight takes, pawn check, and then the queen comes out. It's pretty dangerous, although technically I think it's a draw with best play from both sides. So now, that's about my book knowledge of this position. I can play pawn here. He can take it, and then I can play the knight up. I think that's it. Tempting to play knight takes here, but it's nice to shut down this diagonal if you can, to prevent this knight from escaping or the bishop from coming in with check. He takes with the pawn, then you come here with this knight, taking away another square from the king. And the other knight goes here, and the queen is still ready to jump in, and the bishop is ready to jump in. Yeah, this pawn push also opened up this diagonal for the bishop. There are lines where you can trap the queen here. The queen is almost out of squares. And he's stopped to think. It's a very dangerous line. The safer way to play against the Traxler is to take with the bishop, checking the king, and then retreat the bishop somewhere. But even there, black has a lot of counterplay. In all of these lines, technically, white is better. Some of them, actually, it's a draw, like I said. Some of them turn into a draw, but in most of the lines, so white is technically better, but hard to play. Well, we'll see what this Mux 21 comes up with. So bishop takes, knight takes, I assume. Pawn takes, and then knight here anyway. Then maybe he can consider taking this bishop. I don't really know. We'll see what he plays, and I'll just have to calculate from there. I've been guessing at the continuation for a while, the best line, but I do remember this as a key move. And yeah, I think the way it goes is he takes, I play here, and then he actually pushes this pawn and sacrifices it to discoordinate my forces a little bit. I think that's the way it continues from there. In the book line, of course, if he takes the bishop, I will play knight takes pawn check. And actually, if he takes the bishop, if the bishop takes the pawn, I have bishop here, and this is, without a bishop to interpose, that is a queen trap. Queen really has no moves, although it gets a lot of pieces for it. I don't know if that's the best. So yeah, the thing that prevents this from just winning the queen right away is that his bishop can retreat here. That's why taking with the pawn is the usual move, and that's why knight here is a big threat, renews the threat of the queen trap. He left the game. Well, I'll go ahead and claim victory if he doesn't return. But at the same time, because that's rude to just leave like that. He should play the game. He chose to go down this variation. He should play it out and see what happens. And it's not at all decided. I think this is still better for white slightly in the, if accurately played. So I will claim the victory, and I will upload this video too, so you can learn a little bit about the Traxler. Or Wilkes-Barre. It's a interesting story about the name of the game. The name of the variation, it was Traxler was a Czech writer who wrote about it, and so it's most of Europe it's known as a Traxler variation. But Wilkes-Barre is a county or town in Pennsylvania in America, in the USA, and Frank Marshall wrote about this variation, and he named it after the Wilkes-Barre chess club because they were experimenting with it there. So anyway, that's how you can win with the Wilkes-Barre in only 7 moves. So he gave it the name Wilkes-Barre, and he thought he was the first person to write about it. But so in America and in the US, it's often called the Wilkes-Barre, but I think Traxler is the more correct name, recognized in most of the world. Okay, well, we'll play Blitz game. One more Blitz game. We have time. I'll play English. And white is playing the most direct response there with e5, kind of a reverse Sicilian. Okay, I can put the bishop here. If he kicks my knight, the knight can go here defended by the bishop. It's kind of just in time. Otherwise, I would have to play some pawn move to support the knight. Now from here, should I just take his knight? Should I go here? I think I have to take the knight here, actually. And I can play here, open up a diagonal for my bishop. And secure this spot for my knight. Develop my knight, get castled. I think it's fine. It's kind of a low-lying position, but it's like the Sicilian dragon. Get the good bishop here. Well, it's not really like a Sicilian, is it? Because he's got the e-pawn. In the Sicilian, let's see, yeah, white gives up the e-pawn. Am I thinking of that right? It's so confusing. It's confusing. But anyway, I think this should be fine. Probably a pretty even position. He's got more space. I'm going to push on the queen side. So in the Sicilian, black plays c5. So, and white plays e4. And then, yeah, d5 happens, and the e-pawn gets traded for the d-pawn. So in the reverse Sicilian, I play c4. He plays e5, and if he had traded this e pawn for a d pawn, that would be like a reverse Sicilian, but he didn't do that. He managed to keep that pawn. So I'm preparing to play b4. Kick that knight. Kick it till it's dizzy. Be nice if I could dislocate this queen here somehow. I know. Let's move my queen to the side and then maneuver my knight around. Oops, excuse me, my knight around like this. I don't want my queen on the C file, where it would run into a discovery. If he takes, I can take back with the rook. Aha. So he did a maneuver of his pieces too. So I can put the knight here and get a knight for bishop trade if he takes it. Might be interesting. What if I take that bishop? I take the bishop. He'll probably just take with the knight. I wonder if I can play rook here and rook here. If something happens, I can always take this rook with check. Oh, he did. He went for the bishop versus knight. Interesting. So rook here. Just double rooks. I can keep the bishop there for a while. And try and increase the pressure on the e-pawn. And eventually he moves the queen and pushes the f-pawn to drive my bishop back. It'll have to go back here, I guess. But in the meantime, I can try and mobilize along the e-file. Also, if he ever pushes that f-pawn, I've got this queen check here. Now, let's think about this. The knight is actually pinned because I can win a pawn here. I mean, I can win a rook there. So I have time to do something like this, I think. No, I don't. If I go here, he will push the pawn. Then if I take the bishop, the knight, he takes with the rook, I take with the rook, he takes the rook, I take with the bishop, he takes with the queen. So I have to give myself space to retreat if he pushes that pawn. I'm giving my queen space here. So pretty simple play. Just pile up. Just pile up. At some point, I was checking for whether it's pinned, because at some point you might have a discovered attack like so, attacking the knight. So he went there. Okay, now I'm really threatening to take that knight. Bishop takes, pawn takes, rook takes, rook takes, rook takes, rook takes, queen takes, queen takes. Well, that's a pain. Maybe I have to push these pawns. Yeah, 4 attackers, 4 defenders. I was forgetting the pawn. But, well, I can go here, because if he takes here, I will take his rook. And then I can go here, and if he takes, I'll take back. So I think I think I've got him. Oh, is he doing this just in time? That's why he got the queen out of the way, so he could push the pawn. He wasted a move with the king. I'm not sure what that was. Well, he didn't want this backfires on this diagonal, I understand. A bishop here with a queen here and a king here would be pretty dangerous. But my bishop is here. If it goes here... Oh, the rook supports it there. Okay, so he did need to move the king aside in order to play the f-pawn forward. Yeah, he's being pretty careful here. Pretty careful indeed. So, knight takes pawn, rook takes rook, knight takes rook, rook takes rook, check. Maybe he's calculating that. Yeah, but he went back for this. So I can go here. I can go here anyway. The queen has to move. Then I can go here. I think maybe I'll get the exchange out of this. I'll get a rook for bishop, perhaps. Because when I take this rook, I'll be undefending my bishop. He still has this idea of knight here at the fork. And I take the rook. He takes the rook. I take the rook with check. And his knight is hanging and my bishop is hanging. I think I'm okay here. Maybe we'll take a quick look at it in the analysis window. So he goes back there. Yeah, so rook takes rook. Queen takes bishop. Or he can, yeah, or he can trade rooks first. So I did win the exchange. Let's see, so I can pin his knight like this, and that'll be nice because it ties his queen down, which was otherwise threatening to take here. So checks, no. So I can come in here with the queen. Don't want to lose this pawn. Yeah, the pawns are even, so should be a good endgame for me. See if he finds a safe home for that queen. And here, threaten mate. Yeah, he finally had to take. Now I'm threatening this pawn. His knight is defending this pawn. And my king and my rook are far enough away that, okay, here. Here. Okay, I finally have a passed pawn here. And he ran out of time. So one thing I did want to check, that's these really complicated situations. Sometimes there's a tricky answer here. So let's go back to this critical moment where I pushed the pawn and see what the evaluation is. It is +5. Okay, so I'm just winning there. Let's turn that off. Let's back up a little bit. The very first opportunity right here. Okay, I pushed here. Finally hitting on that idea. Is it already lost here? Can he push? Oh, let's go back before he moved the king. So it's like he moved the queen aside. I moved my queen here. Yeah, what is it at this point? Is +4. Okay, so I'm already winning here, and there was no way out. Okay, I thought that was interesting. Let's stop that. And hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll see you next time. Bye now.